Hello and welcome to Auto Arcadia. I am one of your hosts, Thomas Hope, and with me, as always, is.
Colin Wood, the other host.
Hi, Colin. How
How
are
you
you
doing?
this fine evening?
I'm smashing, man. Well, actually, I'm not smashing. I got heat stroke yesterday and I'm fucking dying. But I'm attempting to not be a massive fanny about it and just power on.
Fair. There is. I mean, you've committed to it now. There's not much you can do apart from just flood your body with fluids.
Yeah, that's it. Electrolyte powder, man. Like, it's fucking awesome.
Does it taste rank?
No, man. You know the stuff as well, right? Because you get like loads of different ones. This stuff, B&M, for a tenner for a kilo tub of it, and it's lush. Like, it actually tastes delicious.
What flavour?
Mixed berry,
Fair,
electrolyte
okay.
and vitamins. Yeah.
But that's not the point of this podcast. We're not here to advise on electrolyte-based powders.
No, we are the wrong fucking people to be taking any sort of health based advice from.
I'd probably no do that, yeah. Definitely not. Any advice, actually.
I don't know. Car buying advice is on brand for us, bud.
Yeah, I suppose. I totally suppose. And I've definitely got strong opinions.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, it's you're not going to get car talk UK type responses from us. That's for sure. It's not going to be a million people with different opinions. It's going to be potentially two with two different opinions. But usually we're pretty uniform in what we think, unless it's an Audi B7 RS4, which Tom is like, yeah, man. And I'm like, fuck that.
I would absolutely have one of those.
Oh, you're a sadist.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Maybe I do hate myself, and that comes out in poor choice of car.
Well, I mean, the same could be made for all Audi owners. Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
man.
We're kicking off early this episode. The Audi hate's out, and we're like 3 minutes in, if
I
that.
don't hate Audis. I absolutely, I've had an Audi. I hated that Audi towards the end, but that does tend to be a bit of a cycle for me with cars where I get it and then over time I just gradually grow to hate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. There's a few cars that I haven't hated. I never hated the MR2.
Oh, you couldn't.
Yeah, I always loved that thing.
They're fantastic little cars.
To be honest, usually the reason I hate them is because they break down on me. Like, it's not often. Really, the only car I hated driving was the Volvo and actually the Jag to an extent as well.
That's fair. Yeah. I hated my Mondeo.
Why?
I just didn't like it. Like, I bought it so that someone could learn to drive. Someone never bothered to learn to drive.
Wait, what mark was this Mondeo? Was it a 2?
Oh, it was like a Mark Five. Like it was, the Titanium X ones, like the Focus ST with the 5 cylinder in it. About that era.
Like 2010?
Yeah, I think it was 2009 actually. The Mondeo. It was fucking horrible though. It ended up parked up at the unit, and we sold it like to these we buy any car but the scrap version,
Yeah.
and they come out with like a truck and pick everything up. So they come out with this high-ab and lift the car onto a flatbed. So me and Jolly just filled the thing with absolute all the crap of the day out of the unit. Like we absolutely gutted the unit and threw everything into this fucking car. Like we're like shoveling like all the crap off the floor just into the back seats to get rid of it. It all went down the guy rocked up with his high ab, hooked it on the top of the car, and it was like straining to lift it. I was like, oh, fucking hell, we might have overcooked it here.
So sorry, back to that Mondeo. I've actually driven one of these Mondeos. I agree, they're very car.
They're very white good, and they're not particularly impressive.
Yeah, what surprised me is how big it felt. Even though it wasn't massively spacious inside, it felt like a big car. It felt soft as well. Although the one I drove was like fucking base model special, if you know what I mean.
Oh, well, this was the same. And it had that 2 litre diesel.
Oh
The one that
no.
They all have, and they're
Yeah.
crap.
I think it was a 2 litre diesel, the one I drove, actually. Fuck, it's been so long I can't remember.
Oh, Tom, you're better off for not remembering.
It was a forgettable experience overall. I remember it was
Yes.
a black car. I remember it was a black Mondeo, and that's pretty much it. I remember it being cramped inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I remember it being quite cramped inside.
Hmm. There wasn't a lot of room. Like you say, they're a big car with no room at all, and they didn't handle well either, which is unusual for that era of Ford, because usually a Ford handle's not bad. I mean, they're nothing to write home about, but they're also not absolutely soul destroying. But yeah, no, I wasn't a fan. Was not a fan.
Totally fair. I do hope I definitely don't. I don't get sick of the car I've got at the moment.
I don't think you will.
Yeah, I hope not. I do hope not. Because I do have some plans for that car.
Well, do you know what the ideal thing to do is wait until you think you're getting bored and then carry out the plans.
Oh, that's a really interesting idea.
Like I've never understood people that I don't really think it's a big problem in the UK, but more in America where it's like, oh, I've just bought a new car, and then they immediately go and drop wages on it
Mm.
to change it all, and it's like, but you're not bored of it yet. You can't be. You've owned it for 2 minutes, and you've just fucking you need to get a feel for the base before you do anything. You know?
Yeah, no, I agree. I absolutely agree. I mean, I don't read the book anymore. I can't be arsed with that. So like, I'm still working shit out about the car. Like after 6 months, a year's worth of ownership.
Yeah, man. Like it was a thing. You know, like the Supra. Before I even started doing anything to that, I ran it for like a year, a totally standard SZ Supra, and I just ran it as was, and it really paid dividends because you get a feel for what the base that you're working with can actually do, and then you know what to change. Like,
Absolutely. You also get a feel for what you want to change,
yes,
and I feel that's kind of the most important thing. Like, it's kind of your car. You kind of do what you want with it.
absolutely. You really do have to get a feel for what you want from it. Because, like, I think the people that I'm describing when I say that as well probably don't really care. I think you'll probably find a lot of them are doing it for clout. Like, they'll go and buy a new Subaru Impreza WRX, for example, and they'll just be like, Cobb remap, Perrin pipework, whatever wheels is like the in wheel brand for them, and they'll go for all these designer bits, and they're just wanting the name on it. Like they're not really bothered about anything else.
Mm. Yeah, some people kind of just want a car that looks fast.
They do.
Which I suppose is fine. You know, you could argue that a lot of people buying classic cars just want a car that looks fast because a lot of them look much faster than they actually are.
That's fair, but I have to disagree with the statement on principle because we've had quite a big go at people who buy like the S line and the M Sport models, where it's like we've had a big go at this in the past, where we're like the UK seems to like having cars that look fast but are actually shit. So
I mean, you're so right. We do love a visual trim. It is what it is, I suppose.
yeah, there's no getting away from it. It's definitely the PCP special. Yeah, like I want the base model with base engine. I want massive wheels that surround minuscule tiny brakes because it's got a half-liter engine, and then I want just all the tat.
Yeah, yeah. All of I need the wing. I need the front splitter.
Yep. Like, do you know this is something that's getting on my tits a wee bit actually. Is like it's the splitter has become the thing now. Like so many times you look at a car advert for sale and everybody's like, it's got the full maxed in kit. And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, that's not a splitter. A splitter is something that you went down to the scrapyard and stole off a Renault Laguna and then stapled onto the bottom of your Corsa bumper. But I know that I get it, but it's like, come on, do something original. Like, everyone has access to 3D printers and everybody has access to fucking everything now. And the knowledge to do stuff is so widespread and easily attainable. Like, why are you just getting some off the shelf tat that's like 400 or 500 quid for a splitter? Because if you looked at the Maxton stuff, it's fucking expensive.
It's all really expensive, man. Like, you can spend a lot of money on not very much, to be honest.
Like, a couple of grand literally does fuck all. It puts a little black line at the bottom of your bumper, a little black line at the bottom of your side skirts, and a wee accent here and there. And it's like, why? What the fuck are you doing? Like, go and buy some balsa wood or plywood and mock it up, and then get a vacuum bag and form the carbon yourself. Like, literally, you could build it, what they're selling you, for about 50 quid.
You absolutely could build it, but not everyone has the time, patience, or, like, skill to do it
Time and
themselves.
patience, time and patience I'll give you, but skill, no, because uh, like, you can learn if you've got the time and the patience.
Okay, right.
Give it a go.
In principle, I totally agree with you, but picture the scene, right? You like cars, but you don't work on cars. You want your car to look fast and cool. You earn pretty good money, and like you could afford it. Are you going to be like, no, I will dedicate months of my life to learning how to form like wood and carbon fiber to make my own version of them to save the money? Are you even going to
Mm.
consider it?
I think a certain subset of people would. People like myself.
Absolutely, yeah. No, that's honestly that is absolutely great. Like I'm so on board for doing it yourself if you can, but I just think that the idea is really easy when you have the confidence to do it, but if you don't, like, it seems really daunting, if you know what I mean. And also, there is the potential ridicule of if you do it yourself, and because you're new to it, it's a bit shit. People will be like, "Oh, did you do that yourself?" You know.
Yeah. See, this is a bigger problem with like society at large, though, because everyone seems to think that they're entitled to an opinion, whereas opinions are actually a bit like arseholes. Can everyone's got one,
But just keep it in your
and
pants.
yeah, like, see, like, if I done something to my car, say I build my slant nose Porsche out of a 996, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I'm sitting at Cars and Coffee one day, and somebody comes up to it and goes, "That looks shit." Like, well, that's because I done it myself. I mean, what have you done lately? What are you driving? Oh, that wee hatchback. Why don't you go fuck yourself, pal? Keep your opinion to yourself. Like, it has value to me because I did it.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with that. Like, doing something yourself feels way better than just buying it.
Yeah. Like, actually, I've probably not put the point across very well there, but like, at a time, I kind of liked the Mac Power era for this, because everything was a build. Like, everyone had these mad ideas and they were like going out and doing it. And there was guys like just buying fiberglass and making bumpers, for example. And now, like, you get a build and people are like, "Oh, it's my build," and they're like, "What have you done? You put a set of Maxton splitters on it. You've done a cob remap, and you've put wheels on it that don't fit right." Like, that is a build now. Whereas, like, it's actually a rarity. Like, the actual full-on perfect example of this is the Fiesta ST. Maxton splitters, cheap wheels, shitty tint, pop and bang remap, and delete the back box. That's now a build. And they're also the same people that'll knock people down for doing it themselves and it not looking absolutely spotless like somebody had a professional Coachworks build it for them.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of get where you're coming from. Like, I do. I really appreciate, and I'm always drawn to something where it's clearly a little bit more like homebrew. It's not just off the shelf stuff.
Yeah,
And I also
it's
much
cool.
prefer, or like rough, kind of like I don't. It doesn't have to be perfect for me. In fact, sometimes it being like completely perfect, I don't know. I just like I would prefer it to be a bit more rough and ready. Like I'm way more into like almost the idea and the creativity behind it and the ingenuity to get something to work than it looking like this amazing finished product.
That's fair. Do you know what this is? Right? Because it's just popped into my head. There's an example for this. Remember when we were at Gravity and there was that RX-7,
Oh god, you're testing my memory there.
and it was an absolute track slag. Like it had been painted and everything. It clearly looked immaculate at one point, but it was covered in so much patina and just it looked used versus like some of the wide body stuff that was more or less the same idea as this, but was literally just there to sit on a plinth.
Yeah, I fake patina. That's wrong.
Yes,
That's very wrong.
but properly used, like holy fuck, this thing has been driven hard. That's cool.
Aye, totally. Seeing something actually properly used is really really cool. I'm just
Oh yeah.
looking on the Maxton Design website at the moment.
Oh my god, this will be terrible.
I'm looking at what the cost for the bits for mine would be, with no absolutely no intention of buying. I really, really hasten to that. But like they're quite pricey. They're not insane, but they're definitely quite pricey. It would cost me. It would definitely cost me about 500 quid to get like the full, the front splitter, the side diffusers, and the rear diffuser, all like that, all that tat. It would probably cost about 500 quid.
Yeah, it's disgusting. And do you know the mental thing is, right?
Yeah.
So what you're talking about there gets you some like little stick-on bits of plastic for your car. See the going rate for like a grip kit from Whiteline is about 520 quid, and that's front and rear anti-roll bars, lower end springs, uprated bushes, and like legitimately would have a absolute colossal impact on the driving and the feel of your car and add adjustability.
Absolutely. I'd pick the actual kind of like, performance or handling upgrade over visual. Like I'm not sure I'm that fussed about how nice my car looks on the outside. Like I want a nice, good looking car, but I'm not amazing at keeping it clean and nice. So kind of let that go a little bit.
Yeah, that's fair though. Like, not everybody wants to spend every other weekend polishing their car.
Yeah, I like to spend no weekend polishing my car.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I actually do. Again, I need to have it cleaned because I was driving in the rain and it was so wet and windy that I couldn't be fucked putting the car cover on it to protect it from the angry bird poo. So I just left it, and by the time I got back to it the next day, it was just plastered again. I was like, right, well, this needs cleaned.
Fair enough, dude. Fair enough. Well, next time you're down, I'll get the polisher out and I'll do a little paint correction for you. So I've got everything here for it now.
That would be good. That would be good. There's a few little spots where it's down to the metal underneath as well that kind of need looked at.
Really,
Yeah.
I can't really do much for that though, bud.
No, no, I know that. I need to think on it because basically all it's doing is just sitting by the river rusting.
Do you want to know a hack for that actually? Right, and this is some legit advice. This came from a painter when I worked in the body shops. So, see, don't buy a touch-up pen, right? What you do is you buy the spray paint in the same color as your car, and you get the plastic cap that goes on the spray paint tin, and you shake it up really, like put the tin in hot water to thin the paint down, right? Then shake it really well and spray the paint into the plastic cap till you get like a little puddle of it, and then get a drawing pin, and you dip the drawing pin in and then dab it onto the car, because I don't know why this is the mechanism for doing it, but see if you have a paint up, like a touch up pen with like a brush, it makes like a big blob. Whereas when you drip it on or dab it on with like a drawing pin, it's such a small amount of paint that you can fill the hole up and it'll polish out and it'll look way less noticeable.
Interesting. How big a touch up can you use that on?
Like I'm talking like a stone chip.
Yeah, maybe quite a big stone chip.
Certainly a couple of mil, like probably not
Hmm.
10 mil. I would say 4 or 5 mil would be your absolute max.
There may be about that actually. There may be about that. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Like it's I'm not actually that fussed. I'm just concerned. I just don't want it to like, it is starting to bubble in places. Like there is definitely some bubble rust around the arches and stuff that needs kind of, I don't know. It just needs kept an eye on.
See, next time you're at your car, put your hand under the arch and dig your fingertips into the corner of the arch and then run your hand round. It'll be full of muck.
Hmm.
If you take all that out, it'll stop it rusting.
Okay, I'll give it a clean. Yeah.
Because what happens is it gets wet and it holds the moisture in that little
I get you.
angle.
I can totally see why that causes rust.
It's fucking horrible.
Yeah. I mean, it does pay to keep your car clean, like, but pays to do a lot of things.
Yeah, it does. I've bartered a guy down on that when I was buying a car once.
Well, that it was dirty.
Yeah, like I went out, like it was an IS 200 Lexus, and I went to the back and I ran my hand round round the arch and the inside, and I pulled out like loads of wet, shitty mud. I went, mate, you don't clean your car, do you? He's like, no, I do. It's all shiny. I was like, no, but you don't actually clean it because like I've just pulled all this rust causing shite out. Says, I tell you what, I'll knock 200 quid off it and I'll take it because I'm gonna have to do something with the arches because they'll be fucked in like a couple months time. And he took it like, I shit you not,
Did the car rust?
it did.
Yeah. I really want to move inland. That's one of the big things.
Yeah, getting away from salt is a big thing, man.
Mm, absolutely. Very conscious that tidal salt being blasted in by a wind. The car isn't going to last too long there.
No, you don't want salt at all. What's your thoughts on gritting the roads, by the way, with salt?
I'm not really sure how. I don't know. It's a pain in the arse.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's about it. Like, to be honest, but if the road's been gritted and it's like washed away and stuff like that, and it's fine to drive on, then great. But most of the time I end up just seeing the critter driving ever so slightly in front of me. It's usually where I fucking find myself waiting behind it,
yeah.
which you don't want.
See, I'm against it. So I am. Because, like, I don't actually think we have hard winters in this country, you know?
They're not massively hard.
They're not. And for years, for fucking years, I've driven rear wheel drive, big old land yachts, you know? Like, they were big, usually fairly serious bits of kit, like 2.5 litre twin turbos, 3 litre straight sixes, all this kind of stuff. Plenty of torque.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them were automatics as well. And a torquey automatic, big old rear wheel drive bus with really wide tyres is probably the worst thing you could ever drive in the snow. And I didn't die. I just think it's overkill. and it causes so many problems, you know?
It's got a high economic cost.
It does. Like, when you look at, like, the automotive cost of it, which is the rust that it causes to cars, the ecological damage, because salt, like, way back when, they used to salt the earth to stop stuff from growing,
Mm.
you know? It's a lot of money to buy salt to just throw it on the fucking ground, and it also destroys the roads as well.
Yeah, it's like, well, it is kind of. I think it's acidic.
Yeah, like, I mean, like, the surface of the road is noticeably worse after a winter, you know?
Honestly, concrete in winter fucking hate salt as well.
That's it. Like, it doesn't do anything any good. The only thing it's good for is making salt water. So leave it in the sea.
Maybe you've convinced me, because yeah, to be honest, they don't really need to get the gritters out that often.
No. And like a lot of the time they get the gritters out and because it gets to like 0 degrees,
Mm.
which I get because water freezes at zero. But then it doesn't make much of a difference because then if the gritters miss it, right? It always kind of puzzled me this because like when I was a mechanic, you would go out to people who called you out, and there was somebody called us out once and went out to it, and they're like, we need a hand getting the car out of the hedge. Like, okay, cool. So went out, gave them a hand in that, and like got it kind of sorted so it would be safer to drive to the garage to get it fixed. And they turned around and they're like, "Oh, I didn't expect it to be icy this morning." And I'm like, "Well, did you defrost your window?" Yes, I defrosted my window. What's your point? It's like, well, if it can be icy on your window, can it not be icy on the ground? Like, and it was just totally lost on them. Like, you don't deserve the roads to be gritted. Like, remove the idiots from the road through the medium of ice. You know?
Yeah, this is all of a sudden getting very like hyper individualistic.
No, sorry. I'll rein it back a bit. But like, it is. It's very. It's a point. You know, I don't think it's really needed. I think what would be more realistic is if you actually taught people to drive to the conditions.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I think a better, kind of more robust teaching. But we talked about that before. I think a couple of episodes ago or something like that. We both totally agreed that like we would change the driving test.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Honestly, man, I have no idea how we got here.
No, we are way off the edge of the map right now.
Definitely not on the subject we started on.
No, I actually do have a subject, and it's kind of automotive based and kind of not. It's a bit of a grey area for the podcast, this one, but it's something that's right at the forefront of my mind. I've been looking at it a lot today, and I want your thoughts. So you know how like, I assume you've seen the online video of the guy stealing the Range Rover.
No.
So you remember Vice, the channel
I
Vice.
totally do. Aye.
So they had this wee video when they were floating about, and they're with this guy in a balaclava in a car, and he's like, "Oh yep, there's a Range Rover. Just follow that to wherever it's going." And they drive in behind it at Tesco's, and the guy's got a wee thing in his hand, and he's like, "Oh aye, yep, there we go. She's locked the car. I've got the code." And all he does is jump out the car, walk up to the Range Rover, press a button on this wee device. It opens. He jumps into it, presses a button on it again. It starts, and they drive off. And he's like, that's how easy it is. And then they turn around and they go and put the car back in Tesco's. They were just proving a point. But then the guy in the balaclava gets out, locks it, and jumps back in the car again. And he's like, this is how we steal them. We follow you to the shop, wait for you to go into the shop, and then you come out the shop with 4 bags of shopping and you don't have anywhere to put your shopping. He says that's how it works. And there's a device called a Flipper Zero. I don't know if you know about it.
No.
And it's like, it's an IT professional's device, but you can buy them for like 180 quid. And it's essentially the same unit as what this guy in the video is using. Like, it can capture rotating codes for like door locks and garage doors and all this stuff, but it can also capture like Wi-Fi data, and you can use it, like you can program it to work your television as a remote so that everything in your house works off of one item, which is this little thing as a remote. Like, you can do loads with it. Literally, the only thing that stops you doing it is your imagination and knowledge. And it's something I was looking at buying to fuck about with. And I just wondered what the kind of consensus is on the availability of technology like that. More so from like an automotive point of view.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not going to go out and steal people's Range Rovers because I don't know why anyone would want a fucking Range Rover in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
first
you
place.
don't want one.
But I'm looking at this from quite a utilitarian point of view because if I just kept this on me all the time, right, I could use it to open and close both my garage doors and I could load a key profile for Bex's car, my car, any cars that I've got that I'm buying and selling at the time. And because all these cars work on keyless go, I don't need a key. I can literally go outside with this in my pocket, and be like, oh fuck it, I'll take that. Boop, unlock it, jump in, start it, and away I go. So I'm looking at it like from a pure convenience point of view. I'm not looking at this for like I'm going to go out and rob loads of folk. But I'm just wondering what your feelings are on the availability of such technology.
It is what it is, like technology's out there. You can't really stop it, if you know what I mean. I think it's probably more the manufacturer's responsibility to like actually not be so lax with the security of cars than it is like, even though thieves are to blame, it's almost like I don't blame them because it, if they're easy to nick, they're gonna nick them.
Yeah, that's fair.
Definitely the manufacturer's responsibility to kind of like fix these vulnerabilities.
Yeah, because I mean, I was thinking about it today because I was like, do I really want to buy something that could be used for that? Because if I have it on my person, it kind of makes me a target if I ever get stopped and caught with it. And I would have to be able to justify it, which I don't have a problem doing. Because if you own something for a genuine purpose, then you shouldn't fear owning it, you know?
Yeah.
But when I was thinking about it in my head, I was like, you used to be able to steal a car with a tennis ball.
Which one could you steal with a tennis ball?
This was an so older cars. You used to get a tennis ball and cut a hole in it, and it would basically make like a little pump. So you press the tennis ball with a hole in it against the lock and squeeze it really hard, and then pull the lock because it would jiggle all the pins in the lock with the air pressure wave.
That's absolutely amazing.
It's class, isn't it?
Yeah,
But
I mean, car security has come on because, like, you've probably heard a story from one of like your older relatives about them getting into the wrong car in a car park
yes,
because their key worked on it. It was just the same car. It seems like everyone did that at some point.
yeah, and I mean we're a long way from the days where like Vauxhall Novas and early Vauxhall Corsas, like if you could get into them, you would pull the hazard switch out of the dash and turn it upside down and then plug it back in, and then when you turned the hazards on, it would start the ignition. So then all you'd have to do is break the steering column. I've never done this, by the way. I just know this is how it was done. Then all you'd have to do is break the steering column and push it down a hill to bump start it, and you were away.
Aye, that's not the most difficult. But I mean, it's much easier when you just get the code and the car just starts for you and you drive it away. You don't even have to break the steering lock.
Yes, but what I will say, like this has like I likely wouldn't be able to buy this thing and then just do that straight off the bat. There's definitely going to be like a learning curve with this, and you're going to have to put the effort in to do it. And you're talking the best part of 200 quid for buying a little bit of kit anyway.
Aye, but that's now, really, is it?
But see, the thing is, when you're like, I think that is enough to barrier the entry to people that A, actually know what they're doing, and B, are doing it for a purpose. Like I think this is way, way above like your opportunistic joyrider, for example.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I would say so.
And I think once you get into that area or that, what's the best word for that, man? Like that kind of league of
Organised crime.
organized crime. If they couldn't buy this, they would buy something else, or they would have it made. you know, because like most people aren't going to go to all this hassle to steal a car. In my mind, what most people are going to do is break into your house and threaten you for the keys, because that's the easy, blunt tool way.
Maybe, yeah, maybe. I don't know on that. Like, I feel like if you know, like if a crime gang is organized enough and they want to nick it, they're probably gonna nick it.
Yeah,
Like the method they use is flexible.
and would likely be proportionate to the value of the car as well.
Well, you'd go to more trouble for more money, wouldn't you?
Well, that's it exactly. So, I mean, yeah, no, I just quite fancied what your thoughts were on it, because it's something I've been kind of contemplating all day.
I mean, it'd be really interesting to like play about with it and see how it worked and stuff. It's like, it's cool. It'd be cool to see what kind of cars it worked on as well. I mean, it would be great if you ever, you know, if you had one and you were like, that dick in his Range Rover, he's like fucking parked so that no one can get past him. Big fuck off car. It's just like, oh, just hop in, park it somewhere more suitable, leave it, you know?
Oh,
Maybe
I
park it in a
love,
disabled bay.
I love that the first place your mind has went is just fucking mischief.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't condone crime. I'm not down on mischief. A bit of mischief's
No,
okay.
yeah, mischief's okay.
Although there is such a thing as criminal mischief, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, you're splitting hairs now. I think. Do you know what? Right? See if you did it, and the police came to arrest you, and they actually started giggling about it. I think you're going to be in for a pretty easy ride. Why did you steal his car? Well, I didn't steal it because I gave it back, but he was parked like a prick. So what I did is I parked it in a really obscure spot and then parked my car right next to it so that he was going to be really confused as to A, how it fucking moved in the first place, and B, he was going to struggle to get it out. Like, I think you'd be okay there.
Prosecuted for just being a dick.
Yeah.
Fair.
Fuck.
Do you know what, right? Actually, you kind of remind me of something. I don't know if I told you, but I had my car at the garage last week to get a bit of undersealed flared on the bottom of it. Again, rust. Just, it's like, it's alright now, and I thought, fuck it, I'll get it like lathered up in some oil. Some wax oil, I think.
Yeah, man.
To like kind of like see if I can get a little bit more life out of the car. And while
Yeah.
I was waiting to drop it off in the morning, I was like playing on my phone, I was like smoking a cigarette, just waiting for the garage to open, you know? And like across the road there was a van. And it's just kind of parked there. It was like some creative arts van or something like that. And I was on my phone and I just heard it like, well, no, I saw it kind of start to like slowly creep forward. And I was like, huh, didn't hear anyone get into that. Maybe they were just being stealth as fuck. And I thought, it's going really slowly. They're like in no hurry to set off. I just kind of thought nothing else of it, you know. I just kind of went back to what I was doing, and all of a sudden I heard this massive crash, and the van had like rolled into a building. Turns out there's no one in it. The handbrake had been fine for ages, and it had just failed in the morning for some reason, and the van had decided to go on a little adventure.
That's quite funny. I mean, it's a total ball ache if it happened to you, but that's quite funny.
Nightmare, yeah. I remember I was at a friend's, and they live at the top of a hill, and all the parking is perpendicular to the road up the hill, and it was icy, and I parked my car beside my friend's van, and then when I came out and was going to drive home, my car had slid down the hill and was basically touching his van,
Oh.
and I was like, oh, brilliant. Got to deal with this now.
How did you deal with it?
I think we might have took the handbrake off and pushed it quite slowly away. Like tried to push it away and forwards from the van. I don't remember it leaving any damage because it was alright.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was quite interested in that. Come back to the car and it slid sideways down the hill rather than like backwards or forwards.
That's fucking wild.
It's a steep hill. Like another friend's car's handbrake went on that hill as well. We we didn't notice. We just came down and it was like at the bottom, just abandoned.
This seems like a hill with some fucking issues. So it does.
Yeah, it's one of those things
Like,
I'd describe it as weirdly steep.
fair enough.
But on the subject of SUVs, in the news today on the BBC, there was some article about SUV bonnet heights being basically exactly the right height to murder children.
Yeah.
I was like reading a little bit of like kind of discussion around that. I found it quite interesting actually, what people were saying, because like there is a lot of anti SUV sentiment out there, which I don't necessarily disagree with in any way. Like I do think they're like a car, but I want it to be a bit worse in almost every way, and with slightly better visibility.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
So yeah, what's your thoughts on the old SUV bonnet height? Do you think they should be? Do you think it should be a legal requirement for them to be lowered, or maybe have pillows attached to the front of them so children are not like, maybe a ramp so kids are like thrown over the SUV rather than like under it?
Do you know what, right? I don't understand why there's not been anything done about it. Because pretty much every car you buy has an explosive bonnet on them currently. So, like, see you get ran over by a Volvo, for example, because I know they definitely have it. A lot of the new Toyotas do as well. So you get hit by a Volvo. So you get hit, and what happens is you fold over and you go down to meet the bonnet. So at the back of the bonnet slash base of the windscreen, where the bonnet hinges are,
Yeah, your bonnet
they've got,
crack.
yeah. Oh my god, I love that. It's now being referred to all the time as the bonnet crack. So there's explosive, basically hinges that'll blast the bonnet up towards you.
What? It's like some kind of weapon.
Well, the idea is that it's not going to be moving terribly quick, but because it's being pushed up this big, massive flat surface, you've got quite a lot of pressure to overcome just with air on it anyway, because it's in a high pressure zone anyway at the base of the window. But the idea is so that it's coming up as you hit it, and it's to diffuse force. It's basically like trying to create a crumple zone, but it's been proven to help quite a lot in like pedestrian crashes.
Because it's usually your head that's landing on that bit.
Precisely. And what it is, essentially, what they're trying to do is lessen the distance that your head is able to travel. Because while your head's traveling, because you're being folded round the front of a car, the further your distance you travel, the faster you're going to go. Because you've got fucking centrifugal force pretty much hauling you around at that point.
Yeah, I can see. I see.
And this is why I don't get how, like, they keep making bigger and bigger 4x4s.
But I suspected you'd be down on the whole SUVs anyways. Like, would you do something about them? Would you think of implementing like a weight, kind of a weight factoring in tax for cars?
Do you know, right? Honestly, if you're going to tax, because it's not a tax on cars anymore, it's an emissions tax. If you were to tax them by weight, it would actually be the best way to do it. Because generally, the heavier your car, the more fuel it's going to use.
Yeah, I mean the weird one was with electrics, which are super heavy
Yeah,
but don't use fuel.
well, they do, in that they use really, really dirty fossil fuels that are powering the grid, like gas and coal. I know they use renewables as well, but I'm not giving them a win. Not on this.
Okay, I'll leave that. We're not going to talk about the power system.
No, that's very much not what you asked. But no, I think because the thing is as well, weight, the heavier your car is, the more wear and tear is on the road as well.
Yeah, I've heard that. I'm always curious to actually, okay, what is that difference? Is that difference meaningful over time? Like, is it like 1% over 10 years, which is kind of irrelevant, or is it like, 10% every year? That's significant.
Do you know what, right? I don't know what it would be in percentage terms, but I've got a way that I can prove the concept to you.
Okay, do tell.
So tarmac is a liquid.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It's in the same way that glass is a liquid. You know how if you get like a 200-year-old glass window, it's thicker at the bottom than it is at the top?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So see next time you're on the motorway, right? And there's a lorry travelling in the slow lane. Right, next time you're on the motorway as a passenger and there's a lorry in the slow lane, because you won't be able to see it on the driver's side, is my point. But when you're going past them, look down at their front tire on the front of the unit, right? And you'll see that they're so heavy they actually push a bow wave in front of their tire. I shit you not.
I totally believe that. Like trucks, especially, are super heavy. But like, a car, even an excessively heavy car. What you say? It's 5 tons. That's a really heavy car.
Yeah.
But not out with the realms of possibility. If you've got your mega SUV with batteries and such, blah blah blah. What's a truck? Well, it's a small one, 7.5 ton. But they're going right up to. Do you know what the maximum tonnage of a truck in the UK is?
40 or is it 40 or 44? I want to say 44 ton.
Okay, that's way more. It's like kind of talking a factor of 10. So
Yeah.
they're the ones doing the damage, and you can see that on the motorway. When you drive down and there's like literally train tracks in lane one.
Yeah, and here's the thing, right? Imagine lying on the ground
Okay.
and I stand on your chest,
Right.
but you've got a big massive sheet of plywood spreading the load,
Okay.
right? Now get a child, like 20 kilos sort of weight, and put that on your chest, but they're standing on a 2-inch square piece of wood. The 20 kilos would hurt more than the 100 kilos that I weigh because it's not spreading the weight out the same.
Totally understand that, man. I totally understand that. But I would challenge, is that weight being spread out in a truck more than it is in a car? That would require some sums that involved, like, tire width, pressures, like, contact area, essentially, for all of them, and work out a weight distribution as well.
It would. Now, I will say this, I'm not going to do the maths,
Yeah, neither am I. There's absolutely no way. I'm not that interested.
but
Like,
one thing I will say, how rare a 355 section tyre is on a car.
yeah, that's fair.
That's pretty much one of the smallest sizes you'll get on an Arctic truck. And they've got 12 of them on the ground. So that's a lot of contact patch.
Yeah,
Now your average contact patch for a car is the size of an A4 sheet of paper. But take the trucks out of it, because I'm just talking cars. Like the heavier it is, and they don't all like tire size doesn't go up in weight with cars, or very rarely does it. It usually goes up in power levels.
mm.
So like if you have wider tires, you're going to do less damage because you're going to spread the weight out. I don't know. Might be totally wrong. I'm talking absolute shite, but
It makes logical sense. I don't have a feel for it either way, if you know what I mean. Like, you do make a good point. There is a way more contact surface on a truck. It would just kind of come down to what the actual kind of contact, like what the weight per area
yeah.
or force per area.
Yeah, that's a better way of stating it.
Yeah, because I imagine speed will also make a small difference on this as well.
Well, speed definitely, because I mean, like the faster you go, the more you weigh because of downforce.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's true. That is absolutely true. I mean, do enough cars really utilize downforce to be like meaningfully heavier on like motorway speeds? I don't think so.
I think so, man. Even just the basic shape, because I mean, when you look at a car, essentially what you have is a flat underside with a lumpy top side. which is the opposite of an aeroplane wing.
Yeah.
Which it's always a positive when you're meant to remain on land and you don't generate lift.
Yeah, yeah, no. I hate when my car accidentally takes off. Really inconvenient.
I know. Have you? Do you know? Actually, this just brought me in mind of the amazing Mercedes GTR video at Nürburgring.
Oh God, yeah, I
The
totally know what you
Achilles,
mean.
and then it's like, wee,
It just goes. Yeah, it just totally goes. It's very sudden.
it is. I bet the guy fucking shat himself.
It didn't have enough time to shit. It happened so quickly.
Ah, fucking hell. It's wild, like.
So yeah, okay. I actually am also on board with like I think weight or even size, like physical size, might be quite an interesting factor to bring in. I mean, it's based on data, so you can overcomplicate this to the nth degree. You can have a massive long algorithm that takes into account like fuel efficiency, CO2, NOx, mass, footprint, initial buy price. You can do all of this nonsense.
Yeah. It's fair, like. Actually, this has just popped into my mind. You know, a couple of weeks ago when we done like our really wide tires, like ruining the dynamics of cars.
Oh yeah.
It's just clicked there. Like they're over tiring all these cars as well, but that also increases the CO2 that the cars produce through rolling resistance.
Yeah, yeah, and also like I mean, tires are one of the biggest kind of like polluters as well. It's like the actual like tire dust.
Yeah, particulate rubber is not a nice thing to be breathing in.
Absolutely not. That's totally the name for it. Thanks, man. Tire dust.
Yeah,
Not to be sniffed.
no, it's fucking not. Uh, do you know what, actually, on the subject of breathing stuff in from cars, right?
Okay, right.
Eh?
Okay, yeah. Where's this
I know
one going?
we're going off on a tangent again. Do you know, on my many jaunts through Europe because of my previous job,
Aye.
um, going through like France, there's this graffiti on like and signs hanging on all the flyovers, and it's like so many thousand people a year die because of fumes. So there's this big push to like bring the speed limits in Paris down, right?
Okay, yeah.
And it fucking boggled my mind why they were bothering to do this. Because every time I saw these signs and these posters, there was like a diesel Peugeot from the 1700s, like chugging along beside me with nothing but like plumes of black shit coming out the back.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like all you need to do is have an emissions standard that says you can't drive that in the city anymore, because it's actually quite interesting. You know, with like a catalyst on an exhaust, a lot of cars, the air is actually almost cleaner coming out of them than it is going into them.
That sounds like I would be very, very interested if that was true because that sounds insane.
It does, but you know, like you've not got these fucking massive percentages of carbon monoxide and stuff.
No, definitely not. Yeah, definitely not. They're way better for that stuff.
The reason I say this is because in my previous life as an MOT tester, the emissions probe used to register percentages when it was just lying on the machine, like when it was doing its basically like calibrations and zeroing out and everything else. Like there'd always be like a small percentage. You'd put it on the exhaust when there was actually exhaust gas flowing over the top of it, and like your CO and everything would go to zero. Like there was less of a percentage when it was in the exhaust stream. And most people who get their car MOT'd, well, I don't know if most people will, because yeah, most garages you have to ask for the paperwork now. But like everybody gets an MOT, an emissions printout with their MOT, and it'll actually tell you what percentage of like CO and CO2 and
Yeah.
hydrocarbons your car's putting out. And for the vast majority of normal modern cars, it's like zero for everything.
Oh, I'll have a look next MOT.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. But yeah, no, it's just when you said that, I was like, oh, on the subject of breathing in car stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. That's wild. How do you feel about the low emission zones?
Honestly, they don't bother me. I get why they're doing it. I think the way they're going about achieving it's wrong. I don't think you should be penalising people for driving in. I think what you should be doing is promoting or rewarding people for parking up outside and then using public transport to get in. Like saying, instead of sitting in a traffic jam in the Edinburgh Ring Road for an hour at 9 o'clock in the morning, why don't you park up half an hour outside Edinburgh and get the bus or the tram in for free?
Yeah, like it's the old idea of park and ride, isn't it?
Yeah, like that's essentially that's what they want people to do. And I think penalising people for taking their car in is the wrong thing because there's certain situations where even if it was illegal and I was going to get like a fucking £1,000 fine, I'd still be driving my car in. Like going to the hospital, for example.
Aye, I don't think anyone's like, would be down on that as a reason to drive into town.
No, and there's examples like that where there's a certain sense of urgency or there's an an inherent flexibility needed in your ability to come and go that public transport just does not fucking suit. And for me, I don't want to be reliant on a taxi because a lot of taxi drivers have a fucking horrible standard of driving. But anyway,
Oh,
um,
I have things to say on that. Yeah. So, like, honestly, in general, the taxi drivers around here are really pretty good drivers. But, I've definitely been in cabs with people that are, like, just scary.
oh yeah, you're sitting there and you're like, that was a questionable traffic light.
Oh, absolutely. Like, the taxi that I got in Brussels unsettled me. Not necessarily because I felt like I was in danger, but I felt like other people around the taxi were in danger. He was like, where I was going was blocked by like an entire main street being shut, and he got like
Right.
he forced his way into traffic, really pissed off some some locals. She was raging, like leaning out of her car, shouting at him for French, and then he had to take like a kind of like really convoluted one way system, and we went down these one way streets. They're like, those kind of residential streets where it's like it's townhouses, pavement, parking, narrow street, green divide, other direction, kind of mirrored on the other side. Like narrow. And lots of like junctions at each one. So it's like built on a grid system. And every junction has like, the four crossways and stuff like that. Man was not stopping for any of that. We were going
No.
full whack. We were like speeding in town through all of those junctions, and I'm just like, I just want this to be over now. We drove on tram tracks briefly, not sure if he was meant to. Like, just we're
Quality.
like overtaking traffic on a tram track is strange. So yeah, no, like I've definitely encountered some fairly terrifying taxi drivers, but they're mostly all like pretty good around here. But what I fucking love doing is chatting to taxi drivers. One of my absolute favorite things to do in a taxi.
Yeah, you get some interesting patter out of them.
Oh, you get such interesting chat. I was talking to one guy recently, who was like, uh, so, golf. It might have been like a Golf R, who knows? But it was a Golf blasted through a red light, and the guy had to like brake and swerve for him. And he was like, justifiably irate is how I would put it. And then he started to launch into a tirade of like what he would consider to be them drivers in their like golfs, and then he was like, "There's fuckers in BMWs and Audis too. They're all dicks." So I was like, "Oh right, like you drive a lot. What cars do you find are driven kind of the worst?" And he's like, yeah, generally them, like, Mercs are alright, they don't really give me too much bother. And I was like, oh, like, what about, like, Teslas and, like, electric cars? Like, don't really even notice them, they're alright. So it was really interesting, I always like to get his opinion. But then I was like, I've got a BMW. He was like, it went a bit red, and he was like, oh god, I should not have stopped to pick you up. And I was like, and I used to have an Audi. But it was a good chat, and
Quality.
I always love, because like taxi drivers usually have a fairly strong opinions of like road and road usage and stuff like that. I'm always really interested.
Yeah.
Occasionally you get some people that are absolutely crazy. Like I remember one from years ago that like we were driving under the bridge, and there was, because the bridge is like, it's like a mile and a bit long, and it's over just open water, so
Right.
bikes just rip down it, and like you can hear them a good distance around, like absolutely, like it's honestly great. I love it. It's one of the things I really love is every so often you just hear like a bike screaming down that bridge, doing many, as you would say, kleptons per hour.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like, yeah, so there was like a couple of cars boosting along the bridge, because it was like, nighttime and stuff like that, and they were, big wob 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 and stuff like that. And he was like, fucking boy racers, they should all be hung, the lot of them. And it was like this mad escalation. Like he was furious. And I was like, I don't want to press this any further. This is too intense. Like this isn't a nice conversation. This man's gonna rant at me if I ask.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Oh,
I'm
quality.
always up for a chat with a taxi driver. Like just spin the wheel. What insane chat am I gonna have today? Love it.
Fair play, dude. Fair play. You know, the only thing they really do that really fucks me off is, and it's not all of them, but there's definitely a core of them that do it. And I think there's a sense of entitlement with driving for their job
Mm.
where they will just stop
Oh
anywhere.
my god, yeah, no, that can be really annoying. And U-turns anywhere.
Oh, yes. Like, I was driving along once, and this guy had just stopped. Like, he hadn't pulled, like, if he'd pulled into the side of the road, he needed to phone another fucking taxi for his passenger to get from the car to the curb. Like, there was at least a fiver in that fare. Like, and went past him and his window's down. And the guy's like getting his stuff together. I'm like, mate, what the fuck are you stopping here for? And he went, oh, well, I've got a fare to drop off, mate. Just my fucking job. I was like, aye, but could you not like stop somewhere that's not a total fucking inconvenience to everyone?
I totally agree with that. They do just be stopping. And honestly, speaking of that, right, of people's grievances about driving, about being on the road, I have grievances.
Oh, hit me.
I've been driving recently, and therefore I have built up grievances. So,
Yes.
first of all, in a callback to when we were talking about, like, sometimes you just get a bad vibe about a road user.
Yes.
I got a bad vibe. Camper van.
Okay.
Hire me, plastered on the back of it.
Oh no.
And it pulled out of a junction. I was waiting behind it. It was pulling out of a junction at a set of traffic lights so slowly. It could only mean this person did not know where they were going. And I know that the junction to get across the bridge isn't really that obvious. Like, and he was definitely in the wrong lane, and he was also going at walking pace. But I was like, do you know what? No way. I'm not risking this. I am gonna sit just behind this guy on the in the correct lane, and I'm not gonna try and overtake him, even though he's going really really slowly, because at any moment this guy's gonna swerve. And he waited until he'd got past the white chevrons before he was like, "Oh shit, the bridge!" And just that great move where you flick the indicator down as you're turning the wheel, and he
Yeah.
just pulls right out in front of me, and I was like, "You absolute melt! I knew it! I knew you were gonna do that." Ah, so annoyed. I was so annoyed. Such a masterclass in obliviousness.
Yep. Do you know they're the worst? It's the Tesco syndrome again, man.
Nah, this guy had no idea where he was going at all. Like
Yeah.
this is like a take 5 minutes and look at the map very briefly before you set off kind of deal. Like he just didn't have a clue, and he was like relying on road signs, and it wasn't that well obvious. So he was just It's just bad, honestly. It really annoyed me. I also have more beefs.
Go for it.
That was the one where I was driving, but the other two I saw when I've been walking about. One of them was, right, I was at a roundabout, a mini roundabout, on a totally untrafficked road. It's not really a through road in any way. It serves like industrial estates and office blocks. But there
Right.
was loads of people dropping their kids off to go to some dance class or whatever. And there was this woman in her maroon 206. And she was stopped at the there's no road markings or anything. She was stopped at the roundabout and she was properly contemplating. Like, she wasn't just looking at the map, she was fucking making the map. She was just there for ages. And I was kind of going across the road. And I was like, okay, if you're just going to stand do nothing, I'm crossing the road. Like, you're not wasting my time. And I crossed on the one road that's actually a dead end. Like, you can't go anywhere. You can't. It's ended. And the minute I stepped across the road, she was like, "Oh, it's time to make my move." And she picked the way I was going, and then she didn't look at me once. On a
Really?
narrow 2-lane road, I was halfway across it, and she just starts moving. She didn't. I looked at her, stared at her the whole time, being like, "You cannot possibly be doing this." And then, like, she never looked at me. I stopped, and her car rolled past me, where it would have been if I'd carried on walking, assuming she'd stop. And, like, not once did she even glance at me. I was like, okay, fair enough for just carrying on and being like, fuck you, pedestrian, I'm going first. You are in the car, I am going to stop. But you could at least acknowledge my existence. But no, just did not look. And I was like, how are you allowed behind the wheel? The combination of you, like, spending so long just sitting at a totally empty mini roundabout, contemplating life and where you're going, and then just driving at someone crossing the road. It's not great.
No, that's a bit wild. Like, that's fucking insane.
It was really bad. It was like kind of my least favorite interaction where like someone's just totally oblivious to the danger that they are. Quite a lot. Also, as I was walking, I watched this guy in a black Audi like Q3 or something, like one of the baby Qs.
Oh, yeah. They're usually a good car for this sort of
Do you know
nonsense.
the kind? Base spec. Black.
Yeah.
And it was like it was just creeping down the road, and it was going so slowly that as I was walking, it was like just kind of gradually catching me up. So you hear something kind of creep along beside you when you're walking, and you turn over to look. Guy, both hands on his phone, staring directly down. Car just rolling down the street,
Oh, no.
not paying any fucking attention. Residential street at the end of work, people everywhere, totally out of it. And I was thinking, you absolute melt.
You do get them, mate. You do get them.
I just couldn't believe it. Like, he literally could have stopped. There's not enough traffic on that road for it to be a problem. People could easily have got past him. It's wide enough. He could stop anywhere. He's not going to get a ticket. But no, just let the car roll. I'll just do what I'm doing. I'll just let the car roll.
Yep. No, I've seen it. Do you know, it really does get me, especially being a biker. Because as soon as you see somebody on their phone, you're like, you could have killed me. I could have died because of your fucking ineptitude here.
Yeah, no, totally. People being on their phones properly gets to me. It's really dangerous and bad behavior, and it's like one of those things where if you start doing it, even if you like doing it at traffic lights and stuff like that, you start normalizing that behavior and you start doing it more and more.
Yeah.
And it's kind of not fair on everyone else because, like, you're in your murder box. I'm sure you and your phone will be fine.
Yeah. Very true.
And finally, like one final thing, going slightly away from oblivious drivers, I did see what I would describe as the best use of Mark II Vectras today.
Oh, do tell.
So I was like, I was walking past and be like, yeah, that's a great use of those cars. Firefighting practice using the jaws of life.
Oh, that's properly interesting to watch, by the way.
Yeah, I know it totally is, but I bet that's satisfying cutting the roof off a Mark II Vectra.
Aye. It will be like. I mean, you couldn't pick a more useless fucking car.
Exactly, yeah. I was like, what great use for them.
Take it out on, you know.
Totally.
That's really cool.
They're wild. Like they're literally just hydraulic claws.
Yeah, they're gnarly.
Yeah, yeah, they're
They're
really
a
cool.
bit. Yeah. Do you know a little bit of Subaru factoid for you here?
Oh yeah, lay it on me.
So when the new age, so you know the classic ones,
The squarer ones.
yeah. So like the Turbo UK and like the old school Colin McRae shaped ones, right?
Yeah, would that be like the 555 era?
Yes, that's it
Cool, I'm on
exactly.
board.
So when they moved away from those, so they went to the new age, which is the the bug eye, the blob eye, the
Aye.
hawk eye. Did you know that the chassis were so rigid with so much reinforcement due to them being homologated for rallying that the first couple that the fire service went to, they couldn't actually cut into them. The jaws of life couldn't get in.
That's insane. Didn't expect that.
And this is the thing. People will say it's not true. Those people are fucking liars. Because I was in the motor trade when the special bulletin went round and I actually saw it. So, because my old man worked for a recovery company at the time, they got included because it was technically a rescue service,
Mm.
recovery. They got included in all these bulletins, and the bulletin that went round was for this locations. There's actually specified locations to cut certain cars on. The RX-8 was another one because it had the suicide doors, so there was loads and loads of reinforcement on them, and there's actually specialised points where they've to be cut.
That's really interesting. I did not know that.
It's wild, isn't it?
Yeah, that's pretty fucking wild, yeah.
Yeah, no, fucking loads of fucking mad shit like that, man. But yeah, no, it's just when you said the jaws of life, I was like, oh, I've got a wee tidbit for you here.
Honestly, that's kind of broadly the things that I had on my mind. They were just like little things today. I also did see, honestly, it Blue McGann had
Oh,
RS on the back of it. Not sure if it was an actual RS. It was the one with the bum.
oh, the bum. Yeah,
Yeah, but blue, bright yellow, gloss yellow wheels.
that is a spec.
That's a strong look. It looks very kind of like Hot Wheels.
Yeah, it sounds like it's giving off definite Hot Wheels vibes.
Yeah, I saw it outside of McDonald's, so it kind of looked a bit more Happy Meal than Hot Wheels. But
Oh, sorry, I don't know why, but that sentence just tickled me. Oh, quality.
because
Yeah.
I like the car, but I mean, and the blue, honestly, it looked like someone had painted it with a brush. It was like it's not great.
Yeah, you see, at certain points in a car's ownership profile, they fall into the hands of owners that do questionable things.
That make choices.
They make bold choices.
Yes.
And while it would be remiss of me, given my comments earlier, to like bash somebody for their own personal taste,
Absolutely.
yeah, I'm going to leave that comment there. I'm just going to park it there. Sometimes it's better not done.
It's so hard to be like, oh, it's your own choice, and it's your money and do whatever. But then watch someone do some some quite intense things.
Yeah, it's a bit fucking wild, you know?
Totally.
And yeah, people need color theory, you know?
Just a quick
Like,
refresher course.
yeah, like what colors complement other colors and what colors don't.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. People just like to stand out, man.
Yeah.
I love yellow, but I don't think I'd go for gloss yellow wheels
Oh no,
ever.
no. Like that's the equivalent of going, I'm really trying to push this on the designer that the tones of brown and orange need to be more. That's it. Like, yeah, it's some people are tasteless.
Some people's taste does not align with ours.
Yeah, that's it. It's strokes for folks, isn't it?
It
Horses for
totally is,
horses.
yeah.
But yeah, it's actually quite a funny one, this, because you know somewhere where you can always see somebody's tastes is in their house, right?
Mm.
Because see the people that just want everything to be white, or God forbid, beige or eggshell.
Oh, or the old classic, Mrs. Hinch Grey.
That's it, yeah. And then I don't understand it. Because for me, I want like a bright red wall with some really nice, like warm grey, the other three walls. So you've got a feature wall and then you've got three walls around you that are like, this is actually quite a comfortable place to sit in. Like it's got a nice tone. And then you do like your lighting to like make it work.
Mm.
And then you get people who just have everything white, and then apparently the idea is that you then put colour in through accents. Like you'd put like a red sofa in, which just sounds horrific. Why not have a red wall and a nice sofa that's easy to keep clean? Like a colour that's easy to live with.
That's an interesting point, because I actually do generally favour lighter, more neutral colours for walls. Like a kind of like quite like a light kind of light green, or like not a light in like bright, but as in like a very kind of like almost like washed out kind of green, or like a light yellow, or out like I mean most of where I live is white because we painted it white, and then we were going to decide on a color, and we decided just to not do any more painting, which I was kind of
Oh,
fine with, to be honest. And
yeah,
like the way we've added color to our home is by clutter. That's the way I decorate through clutter. Like just apply clutter of multiple colors to an area.
that's fair though, you know? But like, I feel like it's represented in cars as well. And I feel like there's quite a strong correlation between the black, white, grey car crowd and the white walls and everything has to be white, beige, or eggshell crowd. I feel like there's a bit of overlap.
I think there probably is, but is there overlap because that's just what the trend was, or is there overlap in people's actual preferences?
I think it's in preferences because do you know as well? Have you driven into like a new build scheme
Oh,
lately?
yeah.
So like all the cars are white, grey, or black. Maybe the odd one that's like a blue or a red, but anything that's outlandish is pretty rare. And like if you're walking through and you look through a window, you can be pretty much assured that you're going to see white on the walls with a white, black, or grey car outside.
Do you know what? That actually has a little bit of water, I think, because like having been looking at like property and stuff, I have been really surprised by how bold and frankly insane some people's interior decorating taste is. Honestly, more power to them. There's clearly a lot of people out there keeping the slightly more insane wallpaper industries alive. And like,
Oh,
God, I didn't know you could get blue leather sofas, but you can.
yeah.
They're no nice, but you can get them. So like, but then I've been thinking, a lot of the places like I've been looking at have not been new builds at all. They've been like kind of like weirder, older kind of like buildings and stuff.
Yeah, a good house.
Yeah, totally. So like probably maybe the kind of weirder people live there than just like people that just want house product and car product.
Yeah. Very conventional.
Yeah.
But then, like, we went to view a house before we bought the one we're in, and it was like an old schoolhouse that had been converted, and like they put a second floor in.
Yeah.
So you'd go up, and like the entirety of the second floor was pretty much one bedroom.
I've totally seen the type, yeah.
And it was like big, massive archways that were like the actual structure of the house, and it was all
Oh, I really
exposed.
love
And
that.
it looked mental, right? And then we're like going around the grounds of the house. And then we got back to the house, and they're like, "What's the garage like?" They're like, "Oh, we'll open it up for you." And he had a V twin ride-on lawnmower and like some old soft top car with then just a pile of shite lying everywhere. And I was like, "This fits. Like your taste in machinery is as fucking unhinged as your taste in houses, and I approve."
Yeah, I totally like a weird house. Just like to see a bit of personality sprinkled in, even if it's not to my taste, like the blue and yellow Megane. Like, at least that car had a color, and it wasn't just like white, grey, black, Blando mobile. I remembered it.
Yeah. Actually, this is something I have to take my hat off to Renault for because they do have some incredible colours.
It's nice to actually be able to order a car in a color.
Yeah. Like, I mean, for like the previous shape of Megane RS, like the one before the one I was looking at, the three door ones, I'm pretty sure they came in yellow as like the standard colour. That
Yeah,
was
yeah, it was like a kind of deep, slightly orangey, metallic yellow. I think it's a lovely color. Actually, I really like it.
they look stunning, like in the flesh. They just look something else. But like that's commendable. Like fucking hell, are interesting people Renault people. Like if you were to like be like, right, we're now assigning a car brand to each personality type. Like, are Reynolds like the kind of sort of interesting people? And then you've got fucking lunatics that are like they're a Citroen where they've got like a rocker switch on top of a square steering wheel to work the indicator. And then you've got like just total fucking lunatics that are like Reliant or fucking BMC or something like that. And you've got like your grey Audi who's like keeping up with the neighbours. Do you? I I kind of want to do. I want to look into this a bit further to see if there's any correlation between like the types of cars owned and people's personalities. I wonder if there's actually a study or any data like that out there.
I honestly have no idea. And my immediate gut reaction would be like no, but I could not be sure. There are studies out there. There's a study for everyone.
I reckon I'm going to go and have a look for like some psychology journals and stuff and see if there's anything like correlations between like personality types and cars.
I bet it's really tied into advertising perception as well.
Yeah?
Yeah, because I imagine some personalities are probably attracted to a particular type of vehicle more than others. Like, people that maybe have like quite a cautious, risk adverse kind of demeanour and like, they just want something that's like safe and practical. Whereas, you'll have people that are a lot more extroverted and like urgent in their personality, probably gravitate towards something a bit like quicker and flashier.
Yeah, it's not bad shoot actually.
But I mean, that's like a pop psychology kind of thing. Like, it would be really interesting to know for sure, like a better quality study.
Yeah. Do you know what this is kind of pointing me towards? You know the paper that you said you wrote? You wrote? You didn't write? No, sorry.
Oh no, it was a book. It was an actual
The
book.
book
Yeah.
about like the correlation between culture and the types of cars people have.
It was like a sociological like kind of research on cars, class, and culture, which I can't
Yeah,
find. I can't find the name of it. 'Cause I can't find the book.
yeah, man, that's actually pretty cool. I might actually have a look at this for a further episode, future episode.
Oh yeah, no, I'd love to. I'd love to talk about this more. I think it'd be quite interesting.
There's some bones here, like so. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Cool. Another one for another day. Shall we wrap this one up? I've kind of. I feel like I've got a little bit of a rant out of my system actually.
Well, man, a rant's not a bad thing.
Yeah, totally. I feel like this is my therapy. For I get angry about things on the road, I talk about them, and I don't feel as angry. That is our episode. Thank you very much for listening, everyone. As always, if you like what you hear, you could, you could subscribe, you could leave us a comment, tell us what you think. Go for it. Goodbye.
Toodaloo!